Good morning at this time, and welcome to the online Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Stony Brook. We are sorry for any technological difficulty you may have had this morning trying to log on. Please know that we have our tech experts working diligently to make sure that all people can easily access this service. My name is Aparo, and I'm so very happy to be here virtually with you and serving as the worship associate with our guest minister, the Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson from the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the South Fork in Bridgehampton. Our musicians this morning are Bethany, Riddle, and Tom Pelletier. I hope you are continuing to stay safe and taking all smart precautions. Today, as we enter the month of May, we think of the fullness of spring and new life, Mother Earth and motherhood. This morning, we'll be encouraged to think about Eve, our mother of humanity. I would first like to offer a special welcome to any of you who may have found us online and are visiting with us for the very first time. We celebrate all ages and abilities, skin colors and nationalities, first languages, and gender identifications. All are welcomed here, and we're so glad that you have joined us. We hope you will remain following the service for our virtual coffee hour, when we'll be able to greet each other and chat. And when our current restrictions are lifted, we hope you will come visit in our fellowship building on Nichols Road in Stony Brook for our regular live services. The announcements for this week can be found in our weekly newsfeed, which is sent by email to all our members and friends and is available on our website at UUFSB.org. There, you can also read about our 7 principles which unite us, as well as our 6 sources of wisdom which guide us as a community of faith. I invite you to light a chalice along with me momentarily and encourage you to sing along with the hymns, imagining and knowing that we are all singing together. You can chat in the chat section of this presentation at any time. When the service is over, please be patient while we technically bring everyone together with both video and audio so we can see each other and wave and say hello. We're also going to be trying another coffee hour breakout group, which is an opportunity to be in the company of just a few people so you can have a real conversation. You'll either get to catch up with friends you already know or have the treat of getting to know someone a little bit better. To join, when we're finished, please leave this meeting and go to the separate meeting for small group chats. That link is posted on our website homepage and in the special news feed from yesterday. I hope that you'll try it, it's fun. Please allow your mind now to clear and your heart to open as we listen to the sound of the morning bell. If you have a chalice with you, let's light it together now and listen, listen to these words of Maya Angelou. You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. Make every effort to change things you do not like. If you cannot make a change the way you've been thinking. You might just find a new solution.
Let us begin our worship together with words from Daniel Budd. Come to this place, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of learning, all seekers after what is true, all who seek a community of compassion and diversity. Come, come to this place, whoever you are. Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times and you're too busy and you don't have time, come. Come to this place, whoever you are, lovers of wisdom, lovers of humanity, lovers of beauty. Come to this place where a love we do not make surrounds us and lifts us up and nurtures us. Come. Come to this place, whoever you are. Ours is not a community of despair, but of hope. Not a place of judging, but of thanksgiving. Not a place of certainty, but of searching. Come, come to this place, whoever you are. Come yet again. Come. Let us sing together as Bethany plays from our hymnal, Song 188, Come, come, whoever you are. We'll sing that through twice. I invite you to take a deep breath, to settle in as we begin our meditation with these words from the poet Toni Morrison, Eve Remembering. I tore from a limb fruit that had lost its green. My hands were warmed by the heat of an apple, fire red and humming. I bit sweet power to the core. How can I say what it was like? The taste. The taste undid my eyes and led me from the gardens planted for a child to wilderness, deeper than any master's call. Now these cool hands guide what they once caressed. Lips forget what they have kissed. My eyes now pool their light, better the summit to see. I would do it all over again. Be the harbor and set the sail. Loose the breeze and harness the gale. Cherish the harvest of what I have been. Better the summit to scale. Better the summit to be. After a time, Bethany will lead us in spirit of life. Let us hold these moments in silence.
We take an offering here each week, affording us the opportunity to grow stronger in our practice of generosity. We do this through our Share the Plate program. This month, the recipient is Island Heart Food Pantry, located in Middle Island. Food insecurity has exponentially increased as so many businesses have closed. Almost all of the local pantries have had to shut down due to the coronavirus. Island Heart, however, has kept their doors open and are serving hundreds of families each week. We are proud to support their generosity. Please consider making a donation to the Island Heart Food Pantry in one of the following ways. Go to UUFSB.org and click on the donate button, and be sure to add a note stating how you would like your donation to be divided between the food pantry and the fellowship. Another way is to use a bank bill paying service and designate UUFSB as a new payee. And finally, you can mail a check to the fellowship with your instructions on the memo line. Please do what you can to support Island Heart Food Pantry while remembering to also honor your monthly pledge. Your practice of generosity will be most gratefully received. For our offertory song, Tom Pelletier will play Armor by Sarah Bareilles.
Let it begin, let Adam in. Step one, original sin. Underneath the leaves, Adam found Eve. Both of them found something sweet under the apple tree. Then it was over, roads divide. Step two, learning how to lie. Let me ask a question to present day. How the hell did Eve end up with all the damn blame? All the damn blame. To all the dirty looks, the kitty cat calls, to the ones who try and throw us up against the back wall. Let me tell you something you'll understand. Only the little boys tell you they're a big man. To all my sisters and all our friends, but we have to thank them, please. Strength means blessed with an enemy. Oh, my armor comes from you. And you make me try harder. Oh, it's all I ever do. Oh, no, my armor comes from you. And you make me stronger. Now hand me my armor. Hand me my armor. Step three, I see the unforgettable, incredible ones who came before me. Brought poetry, brought science, sowed quiet seeds of self-reliance to bloom in me. So here I am. Well, you think I am high and mighty, mister. Wait till you meet my little sister. Oh, my armor comes from you. You make me try harder. Oh, it's all I ever do. Oh, no, my armor comes from you. You make me stronger. Now hand me my armor. What you didn't do to bury me, but you didn't know I was a goddamn seed. You don't scare me, I am of the earth. I'm so tired of your empire. Blind man only set the world on fire. Sad you can't see it, you brought the flame, but here comes the phoenix. You make me try ever do. Oh no, no, my armor comes from you. You make me stronger, stronger. Now hand me my armor. Yes, you make me try harder. Oh, it's all I ever do. Oh no, no, my armor comes from you. And you make me stronger, stronger. Hand me my armor. Hand me my armor.
Eve gets a really bad rap. You don't have to be a biblical scholar to have some sense of Eve and her story. And you don't have to be a biblical literalist to make some meaning from this wisdom story. Like so many of the cultural myths that pervade our society, Eve's is a wisdom story passed down through generations to teach us lessons, to offer us insights about the world, about ourselves. And this is a doozy of a story. It is most often used to account for original sin, the fall of humankind. Indeed, with perhaps the exception of Yahweh, nobody comes out of this story unscathed. You can find it and read it in chapter 3 of Genesis in the Hebrew scriptures. In the previous chapter, Yahweh, God, has created Adam and placed him in the Garden of Eden. And God tells Adam, you can eat freely from every tree in the garden, except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat from that tree, you will die. If you eat from that tree, you will die. This is a high point in parental hyperbole. Among the greatest admonitions to children to stay out of grown folks' business without having to actually explain why they have to stay out of grown folks' business are, because I said so, it's for your own good, and because if you don't, you will die. God has essentially instructed Adam to stay away from the tree without any conversation of why he should stay away from the tree. What is expected of Adam is blind obedience. But Adam is alone in this garden, and God decides that Adam needs a partner. So God creates animals and birds, but none of these are partners. Then God creates a partner and a helpmate from Adam's rib, woman, who will come to be known as Eve. And Adam and Eve enjoy a seemingly idyllic existence in the garden. Enter the crafty serpent, a trickster. Now this is where the story gets interesting. The serpent strikes up a conversation with Eve, who is, by the way, probably minding her own business. Perhaps she is contemplating the sky. Perhaps she is taking a walk from one part of the garden to another, not expecting to be accosted along the way by a trickster. But sometimes, when you are a woman in the world, That is the way of it. The serpent questions Eve. Did God say for you to not eat from the tree in the middle of the garden? Now, most times when people tell this story, Eve starts off as an unsuspecting dupe, a naive ingenue who is tricked by the serpent. Let's assume that Eve is not naive. Eve counters the serpent's question. We can eat the fruit of the trees in the garden, but we shouldn't eat the fruit from the tree in the middle. Really, we shouldn't even touch it or we'll die. To which the serpent confides, you won't die. God knows that if you eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God and you will gain knowledge of good and evil. Now Eve, taking in this new information and understanding that the fruit of the tree was good for food and that it was a delight to the eyes and that the fruit could give one knowledge. She took a bite and she didn't hoard it away, keeping it all for herself. She gave some also to her husband. But I warned you, almost no one escapes this story unscathed. When Yahweh learns that Adam and Eve have eaten from the tree, there are consequences. The serpent, God curses to live upon its belly and to eat dust. Eve, God curses with pain and childbirth and with patriarchy. Adam, God condemns to a life of labor to work for his food. No more easy pickings from the bounty of the garden. And Adam and Eve are sent forth from the garden to make their own way. Everyone faces a consequence. But Eve is really the hero of this story. Because if she starts out in most tellings as the innocent ingenue, tricked by the cunning serpent, she often becomes, by the end, a seductress, a temptress who lures Adam from his obedience and who is responsible for the fall of humankind. The fall of humankind. Eve is blamed for the punishment meted out by God, and her actions are characterized as sin. But as much as what follows Eve's actions is punishment, there is also reward. How does the meaning of this story change if we imagine that Eve is neither innocent nor a temptress, but a character, a woman who is observing the world around her, who is learning more every day, taking in new information, making informed choices about how to act, taking a risk, a great risk that can yield consequences, both negative and positive. What if we see Eve's story not as one of fall and banishment, but of maturation, of growing up and moving forward? Instead of a fall, a leap. Anthropologists and archaeologists who study the beginnings of human development on this planet point to what they call the human revolution, or the Great Leap. 40 or 50,000 years ago, something happened, some decisive break or catalyst sparks the emergence of language and culture among humans. A shift in human consciousness, an explosion in knowledge. Humans develop tools and later weapons. They develop language and art, evidence of abstract contemplative thinking. And finally, humans disperse, expanding outward, leaving where they had been developing in Africa to inhabit other parts of the planet. Read against the story of human history, Eve is a catalyst for human development, not a fall, but a leap. What if we see Eve's bold act not framed as disobedience? What if instead we understand it as an example, as the first example of humankind's unrelenting, persistent striving for knowledge, for culture, for morality? What if, instead of understanding Eve's action as sin, we understand it as self-determination? What if, instead of death, we recognize the consequence of Eve's action as a new stage in our ethical and cultural development, the end of childhood? How bold and how courageous. Eve, rather than a source of shame, provides a blueprint for human action, a catalyst for human growth and development. Toni Morrison, in her Ode to Eve, writes, "I bit sweet power to the core. The taste undid my eyes and led me far from the gardens planted for a child. I would do it all over again. Better the summit to see, better the summit to scale, better the summit to be. Eve, our bold and courageous hero." Let us sing together and apart as Bethany plays "Life is the Greatest Gift of All." This may be unfamiliar, so Bethany will play it through once before we begin singing. Our closing words from Philip Randall. Now may our wisdom show itself in compassion and understanding, and may the fruits of the Spirit be apparent in our lives.
Thank you, Reverend Kimberly, for your gift of beautiful words. Let's extinguish our chalice flames and listen to the sound of the closing bell.
May your roots grow deep. May your branches spread far. May you find this world to be a wonderful place and leave it better for those who follow.